Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about subtracting negative numbers when the number itself is larger than the positive number you're subtracting it from, if that makes any sense. First of all, I want to go over the positive negative scale of a number line, okay? I wrote a number line, or I made a number line here, and you'll notice that I only did it from -5 to +5. The arrows mean that it infinitely goes both ways. It doesn't end, okay? Meaning that if I wanted to, this could go even past 5, and this could go past -5, okay? The thing is that we're only going to take it to this point just to show you the basics of how this works, okay? You will notice that in the very middle of this number line is a 0, okay? As a matter of fact, if you were to make a number line with every single number that exists or ever existed, infinite, because remember, it can't go infinite. I mean, you would never be able to. But the point is, your arrows would show infinity. Okay? The most accurate number line, and I know you've seen a bunch of number lines before in your school careers, but the most accurate number line showing every single number, the positives and the negatives, would have a 0 smack dab in the middle. Yes, the 0 would be in the middle of that number line. Why? Because, like I said, there's a positive side and there's a negative side, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. That's why there's a 0 here in the middle. This 0 separates the positives from the negatives, okay? Now, first let's start with the side that we're most familiar with, that we've known since we were, toddlers, watching Sesame Street. Maybe some of you did, I don't know. We started using your fingers to count. Here's 0, right? 0 means nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way here. And yes, it would go 6, 7, 8, 9, blah, 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 if I really wanted it to. The arrow represents that. Goes on forever. That's the easy part. These are the positives. Okay? Now, here's my 0. Smack dab in the middle. It's neither negative nor positive. It's neutral. It's right in the middle. Then I've got this. Now watch. Look how it goes. 1 with a minus. 2 with a minus. 3 with a minus. 4 with a minus. 5 with a minus. Right? Yes, all the numbers on this side of the 0, on the left side of the 0, are going to have a minus in front of it, which makes them negative. So that's the negative side. Okay? Now, I want you to notice the order that these numbers are written on the negative side, because on the positive side, it's easy to see they're all in the right order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, normal counting forward order. But you'll notice what's happening here. The numbers are actually going backwards. The numbers are going backwards. Okay? Meaning, you start with a 1, well, obviously the 0, but then you start with the 1, which is negative, then the 2 that's negative, 3 that's -4. Now keep in mind, even though on the negative side, even though the numbers are getting larger, the numbers themselves, or the digits themselves, the numbers are still actually getting smaller. Okay? Just like as you go to the left as you go to the right on the positive side, the numbers are getting larger, right? As you go to the left on the negative side, the numbers are getting smaller. Okay? As you move forward, they get larger. As you move backward, they get smaller. But I know what you're thinking. You're like, wait a minute. How could they be getting smaller if the numbers themselves are getting bigger? But don't forget what's in front of each number on the negative side. A minus. Meaning that's how much you're subtracting from 0. We used to think that 0 was the lowest number ever, right? It's actually not. There's a below part. Just like in really cold parts of the world where the temperatures get below 0. 10 below 0 is colder than 2 below 0. 10 below 0 is actually a lower temperature. Even though the number 10 is larger than 2, when you're on the negative side, it's like Bizarro World. It's like an alternate universe. Okay? The 10 is actually lower than the 2 when it comes to negatives, because that's how much you're subtracting from the 0. Remember, the 0 really is not the smallest number. That's why I said if you were to make a number line showing every number in existence, the 0 would not be at the beginning. The 0 would be in the middle, because you have a positive side and a negative side. Same thing here. Okay? So you're subtracting 1 from 0. Here you're subtracting 2 from 0. Here you're subtracting 3 from 0, so on and so forth. So -4 is smaller than -1. Even though 4 is larger than 1 on the normal, on the positive side, 4 is smaller than 1 on the negative side, because that minus symbol makes all the difference. Okay? All right. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say that I plotted a dot on +2. Okay? Now, if I wanted to add 3 to 2, a normal 3, if I had a problem 2 plus 3, right? I would go to the right 1, 2, 3 steps, and I'd get a +5, right? Because 2 plus 3 equals 5. Now, let's go to the negative side and plot the -2. And this is good to know, because when we start getting into graphs and all that stuff, this is good to remember. Go refer back to this. This is like a building block. And this also goes with our algebra that we're doing, and you'll see why in a few minutes. Anyway, -2. Now let's say that I wanted to subtract 3 from -2. -2 minus 3. Am I going to go to the left or to the right if I'm going minus? Remember, minus means getting less, smaller. I'm going to the left. So I'm going to go to the left 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. And what do you know? I got a -5. Right? I got a -5. As you're getting larger, you go to the right. As you're getting smaller, you go to the left. When you're adding to the right, smaller to the left. Now, let's say that I wanted to take this -1 and I wanted to add 2 to -1. So I'm going to go -1 plus 2. What would that be? Well, remember, I'm starting at -1. Since I'm adding, do I go to the left or to the right? I go to the right because I'm getting larger, right? By the way, I'll put a plus here and a minus here. So I'm going to go 2 spots to the right, almost like I'm on a game board. Go 2 spots to the right, 2 spaces. 1, 2. And where am I now? I'm at the +1. So -1 plus 2 is +1. Okay? Take notes on that and go back on your own time. What I want to do now is show you a situation in a different way of when you have a positive number first and you're subtracting a negative number, but the number itself is bigger than that positive number, but it's still negative. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say, yeah, you could see. I'm going to make this larger so you can see. Let's say that I had 3, okay, minus 5. 3 minus 5, right? Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute now. I can't do 3 minus 5 because I know that when I subtract and I have the situation in the ones column, I have to regroup. Yes, I get that. But in this type of situation, you can have a negative number. You can do this. Okay? So 3 minus 5. How are we going to do this? Well, 5 is larger than 3. But this is what I want you to do. I want you to take it in your mind, which I know is a no-no when you're doing regular subtraction with the double-digit, triple-digit number. We have to regroup. But in these kind of situations, okay? Especially when you're dealing with algebra. I want you to take this problem, 3 minus 5, and flip it in your mind. 3 minus 5, flip it in your mind. In other words, say 5 minus 3 in your mind. Notice I'm not writing it down. I'm just doing it mentally. You'll see why. One reason to avoid confusion, but 3 minus 5, I flip around mentally and make it 5 minus 3. Okay? What is 5 minus 3? If they're both positive, what would 5 minus 3 be? 2, right? 5, 1, 2, 3, and there's 2, right? So 5 minus 3 is 2. But remember now, this is why I didn't write it the other way. Because now I got to remind myself that I'm really subtracting a larger negative from a smaller positive, so to speak. So because of that, I remind myself, negative, negative, negative. So look what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take that 2, put a minus in front of it. And that's my final answer. Now let's go to the number line and see if we're right, okay? I'm not going to erase these, but I'm just going to plot. So remember, we had a positive 3, which is over here, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to take 5 away. Remember, minus means to the left. You're getting smaller, less left, right? So here's the 3. I'm going to go to the left 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what do you know? There's the match, right? It is negative 2, isn't it? Okay. All right. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to erase this. And hopefully you had your number line copied. If not, you can always go back and do it. Let's do another example. Let's do 2 minus 4. Small positive, larger negative. Because remember, this is still counting as a negative. So 2 take away 4. What would that be? Well, flip it in my mind mentally. 4 minus 2 is what? 2. Remind myself that it's a negative. And there you go. Okay. You want to check it? Very simple. Take the positive version of this number and subtract the 2 from it. What's 4 minus 2? 2, right? There it is. Okay, let's do another one. How about this? Bigger one there. 3 minus 8. What do? Flip it in my mind. Put the 8 in front. What's 8 minus 3? I keep the sign the same. What's 8 minus 3? 5, right? Remind myself that it's a negative. Put the negative in front. And I have a negative 5. Let's see if I'm right. 8 take away 5 would be what? 3, right? And there you go. Okay. Now I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to make up some more that you could do on your own. Okay. Hang on. Okay, we're back, and here's some that you could do on your own. Hopefully you could see them. 6 minus 10, 4 minus 7, 2 minus 6, and 3 minus 9. Okay? Once again, go back to those notes if you need to. Remember the steps. Do the number line if you have to. Okay? But I'm just focusing for now on the negative. When the negative number is, the negative digit is bigger or larger than the positive one. Okay? So I'll go through that. Okay? I'm going to give you a chance to copy those, and I'm going to make one more set of problems that you could do on your own that deal with the other types. You know, the way we did them the first time when we had negatives from the positives and things like that. Okay? So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, here's the last set of independent practice problems. Notice now I have the negatives in the front. Negative 4 plus 5, negative 3 plus 1, negative 7 plus 8, and negative 9 plus 4. Try those on your own. Try the other ones on your own. Like I said, make the number line if you need to. Go back and look at your notes, okay? Hope you found that helpful. You could always leave a comment in the box. And I'll see you later.